Capri Holdings. Not a household name, even though the brands underneath the Capri Holdings umbrella are household names. Michael Kors, Jimmy Choo, Versace. Second quarter profits came in low. The overall sales seemed to be in line with expectations, but we were talking right before we started recording here. Holy cow, the name change, because it used to just be Michael Kors, the name change to Capri Holdings has done nothing to help this business.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure if it was better or worse than Coach's name change to Tapestry. I think, equivalently poor decisions on management's side there.
Well, I mean, for whatever you think of the names, I understand at least the rationale of, okay, we've got multiple brands. And sometimes we report earnings and one of our brands doesn't do well, and that's sort of dragging things down, particularly if it's the namesake brand.
Right.
So I understand the rationale.
Right.
But unless you actually are performing well in the underlying businesses, then it really just looks like you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
Definitely. I would agree with that.
So I guess the best thing I could say about Capri Holdings right now is the stock hit an all-time low in August, and it's up from that. What do they do here? And take two questions. Take them in whatever order you want. What do they do here? And why is this so hard? Why is this particular brand of retail so hard to get right? Because it's not like Tapestry's stock is hitting, lighting the world on fire either.
Right. So I think you mentioned they own Versace. They bought that in December of 2018. And this year they're looking for or expecting flat to comparable same-store sales year over year. So I feel like obviously they weren't buying that as a growth engine. You're buying that on sort of like the back end. So you get a little bit of efficiency by owning multiple brands, probably looking at sort of like an LVMH or like a Kering Group model. I think the difference is obviously fashion's hard to invest in, particularly luxury fashion, because it tends to change with tides. And if you happen to own two out of three of your brands are out of favor, so that would be Versace, and Michael Kors is struggling as well. They're down 4.2% year over year on revenue, which is in line with expectations. Probably gets to why they changed that namesake. And Jimmy Choo is actually a pretty strong brand, also an acquisition for them, but not a profitable business segment for them. So I think they're probably looking to become sort of that LVMH or that Kering Group that has a flywheel of multitudes of brands that come in and out of favor at different times. I think it is worth noting LVMH partnered with Rihanna in May, I believe, to launch her fashion line called Fenty. And then they also have recently, within the past month or so, made a bid or be rumored to be in talks to acquire Tiffany's. So there is something to this sort of like rolling up luxury fashion houses. This one is struggling really hard, and it's hard to see the pathway out here.
Do you imagine there are any discussions at Capri Holdings or Tapestry, for that matter, of spinning off one of the brands, selling it outright just as a way to raise some money and focus on maybe brands that you feel like you can do well with? I don't know. Jimmy Choo, just knowing very little about fashion, even I know that that's a respected brand in when it comes to luxury footwear.
Right.
So it sort of seems like, well, someone would pay some amount of money for that brand.
Right.
And, that's a way, like if that's the one that's like, well, that's a respected brand, it's actually not profitable for them. It's like, well, then maybe the move there is sell off Jimmy Choo just so you can focus on brands that maybe you have a chance with.
Yeah, interesting thought. I guess if I was their strategic management sitting around the table, I feel like that's the one that's sort of lifting the group up in terms of clout, and which matters a lot in luxury fashion. So I don't know that unless you're trying to make a sort of portfolio of lesser desirable fashion names, I don't know that I would get rid of the one that's like your life raft. But I think this is an interesting time to be Capri Holdings. I don't really know what management's path out here is. How you turn this around? So
in terms of the stock, and we can wrap up here. In terms of the stock, you look at both Tapestry and Capri Holdings. They are in the case of Capri Holdings, it's close to an all-time low. Tapestry is close to a 5-year low. Do either of them look like value opportunities to you, or are there just so many questions and so many challenges that they're both facing, in part because these are global brands and you're dealing with international politics, among others? Does either stock interest you?
Fair question, given that they are sort of, again, we're talking about turnarounds here, right? So you're hoping that things get better. And I personally don't invest that way unless I see a pretty clear path. And I don't think that right now either of these are sort of, I don't see the impetus on the horizon or the catalyst, even at a very, very low likelihood. I don't really know what it is for either of these brands. So I would not invest in either of these personally.
Here's hoping for their shareholders that they have a really great holiday season.
Yeah,
and that there are
definitely.
a lot of Jimmy Choos under a lot of different Christmas trees. Abi Malin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.